I mean, if I wouldn't want a full auto assault rifle, 30 rounds on single shot. If you're trying to actually aim, you want the 30 rounds. You want to be pull the trigger and shoot. Now, if you had a heavy gun in a machine gun placement where you were going to have human wave attacks, then a belt-fed machine gun would be good. But this worship of full auto and the power of it, and how the media always shows handguns and calls them automatic weapons, and it's this magicalness of I mean, it's all psychological warfare. And she walks over and she goes, "Your AK-47's full auto." You go, "Well, it's an AR-15 and it's semi-automatic," and she's just such a moron. No, I mean, these women will send their kids off to school. They're young men telling them, don't ever fight back if somebody attacks you. They send their daughters to be raped and killed in college and never. I mean, these women all the time don't have guns. You better believe my daughters, when they move out of the house, they're going to know how to use guns. And if somebody starts busting in their door, they are going to kill you. But no, the feminists are like, no, you got to make sure women are victims. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
No, I mean, I want you to comment on what I was just saying.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I agree. You know what else is funny? It's like every woman I've ever met that arms herself and takes pride in her ability to defend herself was always a really, just a really cool chick. I mean, I don't know what it is about. You put a gun in a woman's hand and teach her how to shoot it, and a lot of changes take place.
They become empowered, and that's the kind of woman we want. Strong, smart, women that are teamed up with their men, that understand the systems against the family. Instead, the women are like, I'm with the government, and I'm going to show you. And literally, they've become the house slave, and they actually have government manuals on this. The woman's in the house, and this wasn't just with blacks. The Romans did this. When they would enslave a German or French tribe, the Gauls, or the Vandals, or the others, the Austrians, the Ostrogoths, they would grab them and put the men out in the barn and the women inside and teach the women how to be over the men. Were you aware of those systems?
Whoa. I haven't heard of that.
Well, that's what feminism is, and Gloria Steinem admits she's CIA in her own book and was there to break the family up. And we're on to their scam. And there's nothing better than an empowered woman. Super sexy. Let's go ahead and, I mean, I hate these cowardly chicken-neck, domesticated little women that think their power is hating their man and putting their kids on Prozac and Ritalin and lording around the house with their weak husbands, groveling. Those women are totally unhappy. But see, they pimp you, and then the state pimps them. Let's go ahead and take a call from Jake in Texas. You're on with one hell of an American, one hell of a person who loves liberty. You're on the air with a man who had the AR-15 strapped to his back as the liberty and freedom just spreads across the country. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What a good-looking gentleman you look like, my friend. I gotta say, your performance was exemplary. I have to say.
Thank you.
Keep your hands off him now. Now, anyways, go ahead, caller.
I have to say so myself. You know what? One more thing you should have said. When she came up to you, trying to neuter you, she just couldn't understand. Like, what? I mean, the men with guns, and you should have just looked at her and given her a wink. That's how we do it.
Exactly. That's how it is, baby. That's how we roll.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Jones. You should have said, man, we're actually here to defend the president against assassination from these crazed healthcare maniacs who are just finding out what's going on.
To be honest with you, I definitely wasn't there to do that, but
that's what I would have said. I would have said you should have put that one more in there. We're not here just to solely exhibit our rights of open carry, this and that, exercise them. You should have been like, but we're here to defend Obama against
listen. I will say this. I would defend Obama because he's a puppet. He's an actor for foreign banks, just like Bush and everybody else before him, back to Kennedy. And so if anything ever happens to him, they're going to use it against the Second Amendment. But that's a great point. That's why we are all armed, is to keep the peace. And you have a lot of folks attacking the Tea Party people, and it would have been Chris's right to defend himself if somebody came after him with a meat cleaver or something.
Exactly. Of course. And I mean, and there's no way that we're going to progress, forward freely unless we stick to our codes that we have written for us. They're so important. We have to do that.
All right, Jake, I'm gonna let you go. Okay? Let's go ahead and talk to Richard in Nebraska. Richard, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Last night on the Daily Show at 7 p.m. Viewing, they made a comment, and besides Keith Olbermann as well, but I thought it was rather insulting when they commented on about the health care bill, and then they said, and then the way he phrased it was these people also showed up with rifles and everything around there, and then he gives you a strange look in the camera and says, "Now what the so-and-so are these people doing with rifles at this event and everything?" And he makes you try and believe it's two different things, but in actuality, like that health care bill.
Yeah, we've got the report. Let's play some of it now. Here it is.
Southern Poverty Law Center shows that right-wing militias, ideologically driven tax defiers, and so-called sovereign citizens are materializing in significant numbers. One federal agent noting, you see people buying into what they're saying. It's primed to grow. What's priming the movement's growth? An ailing economy, of course, but one key difference between militia groups in the 90s and what's fueling actions now, the face of the federal government. The enemy that almost all parts of the extreme right see as the primary threat to freedom is now black. Another key factor, a changing demographic. Contributing to the racial animus have been fears on the far right about the consequences of Latino immigration. But hate groups are not the only problem. Federal authorities are also focusing on those who may be contemplating politically charged assaults and acting alone. The FBI's Lone Wolf Initiative, launched to prevent single acts of hate-fueled violence, like the fatal shooting of 3 Pittsburgh police officers or the killing of a black security guard at the Holocaust Museum in D.C.
All right, stop right there. See, this is the guilt by association. They use this Von Brun, who'd been in federal custody, probably a staged deal, to then connect it to the Second Amendment. They just ran in here. CNN is attacking Chris right now. We've got him here on air. We're going to go into overdrive today with him because this is so important. We're going to continue with your phone calls. Richard, Jerry, Jenny, and others. Infowars.com is the website.